The following contest is a third-round match in the Kings of Consoles tournament to determine the greatest game in the history of the Nintendo Entertainment System. 2 games enter, only one can advance. Introducing first, the 81st seed, a 1990 run-and-gun game from Sunsoft, Journey to Silius. And its opponent, the 16th seed, a 1990 action platformer from Capcom, Mega Man 3. Your ringside judges are Ricky Giraldo and Pat Dooley. There's nothing left to say but round 3. Fight! Hello and welcome to episode 72 of Kings of Consoles. This is the podcast where we're trying to find the best game for each home video game console by means of giant tournaments. This is our fourth third round matchup as we continue to whittle down the round of 32. Well, we started with 100, but we're narrowing down 32 to 16. They're all winners going forward. And today we are talking about the number 16 seed in our tournament, Mega Man 3, and number 81, Journey to Silius. I'm Pat Dooley.
Yeah, Ricky Giraldo.
All right. Now we got that on the third try. Last week, we saw the Cinderella story run of Little Samson come crashing down as it ran into the buzzsaw that is Mega Man 2. We'll see if Journey to Silius has better luck this week as it takes on Mega Man 3. We do always start by talking about the underdog. So that is Journey to Silius, a 1990 run-and-gun game developed and published by Sunsoft, programmed by Masahito Nomura, Hiroaki Higashiya, and Masaaki Kitagawa, with art by Masashi Tsukada, and music composed by Naoki Kodaka.
Oh, right.
It beat Tetris, the Tengen version, in episode 35, and then Ninja Gaiden just 5 weeks ago in episode 67. Jay McRae is on a mission of revenge after a terrorist group destroys space colony number 428 in the Silius solar system, a colony developed by his father who was killed in the blast. As we've mentioned before, the game was originally meant to be a tie-in for the Terminator, but Sunsoft lost the license during development and turned it into a standalone property. It is available on Nintendo Switch Online and as part of a Japan-only PlayStation compilation called Memorial Series Sunsoft Volume 5.
Wow.
So, Journey to Silius. Yet another really hard but really satisfying platformer.
Yeah.
This one's, I don't know. This one almost defies explanation because it's very Mega Man-y in the kind of like futuristic world that it's building, but it's not as cartoony. It's like kind of like if Mega Man existed in like the world of Contra, where it's like a slightly more brutal version, but also like shinier and more sci-fi than Contra. It's a really, really strange kind of mix of styles, but it works really well.
It does. I feel like we just played this. Like, I know
we did. Yeah, 5 weeks ago.
Okay, I was like, man, this. I remember when we played it for this pod. I was like, man, I feel like I just played this the other week.
You did.
And we did
a month ago.
We did. But yeah, man, like it is a good game. Like, I think it does suffer from not being Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could just tell
mm-hmm.
like they had to go to scramble mode and change everything.
Yeah.
But it was cool.
Yeah, I still like it a lot, but it would have been interesting to see it as, I presume you would be playing as Michael Reese and, fighting.
Maybe. I mean, either that. Oh yeah, they will probably make you Reese, but they'll probably have you as like an adult Connor.
I don't know if they would have been, not in 1990. Yeah. T2 hadn't come out yet.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
So the only Terminator that we knew that Connor was going to be the leader of the rebellion because that was the reason the
Yeah,
Terminator was
John
sent back
Connor.
to 1984 to kill Sarah. But we hadn't seen
Or-
John yet, so I don't know that they would base an entire game around a
Or they
character
could
we
make
hadn't
her.
met yet.
They could make Silius. Or I don't know. It's not Silius, but they could make the main character Sarah,
Yeah, that's true.
because he kind of. It kind of looks like unisex. Like he doesn't really look like a guy, but he also doesn't look like a girl. He
Yeah,
be both. So
yeah. There's
I see
no
that.
like distinguishing facial features, and then the body is
Right.
covered by like space armor. So yeah, could be. And with a name like
Wait.
Jay, I mean, the author of the Wikipedia article and presumably the instruction manual where they took the text from was assuming that he was male, but Jay is a unisex name.
Yeah.
Somebody who's lived his entire life named Pat can attest to. Thank you very much, Saturday Night Live during my childhood. Julia Sweeney sketches did not do.
And I was
for
also
10-year-old me.
Oh, poor man. Well, my name Ricardo, so I used to be a lot of Ricardo. So I hear you, man.
Yeah, I can see it. Not cool, kids. Not cool.
Not cool. God, so many times crying. No.
And that was just yesterday.
I'm looking at the bosses right now, and they kind of look like xenomorphs too.
Yeah.
If you look at them closely, like it's like, oh man, they kind of xenomorph-ish.
Yeah, I could see that. There's an element of Giger horror to some of the character designs, which is sort of out of place in a colorful, cartoony game, but also not as out of place as, say, like the bosses in Fester's Quest. Or I guess it's like a Sunsoft thing, though, now that I think about it, because they also made Fester's Quest, which had the like monster bosses. And there was something else we just played not that long ago that I'm blanking on now. But it was another Sunsoft game that had like horror movie monsters.
Oh yeah,
What was that? Blaster Master.
Blaster Master, yeah.
Yeah. So that was, I guess, just how Sunsoft saw bosses.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. And, oh man, just talk about a disappointing game. Was it Fester's? Was it
Fester's Quest? Yeah, I thought you were talking about Journey to Silius. I was like, no, I like Journey to Silius.
No,
yeah, Fester's Quest was bad.
Like, how is this an Addams Family game?
Yeah, it's sort of the opposite of this, where this was supposed to be a Terminator game and got turned into something else. That one was a Addams Family game that just felt like they slapped a license onto an existing alien invasion game.
Yeah, seriously. So, Eddie, do you want to talk about gameplay or anything? I know we talked about it already. Like anything game-wise you want to bring up?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we talked about Mega Man 2 last week, and we're going to talk about Mega Man 3 coming up here in just a second. It's very Mega Man-y in the way that it's kind of like the way enemies work in this world. There's no like jumping enemies that I can remember, but like those space shrimp that drop bullets on you, and those feel like the kind of enemies that you would find in a Mega Man game. So you know, it's definitely 1990. Like 1 and 2 have already come out, and it's the same year Mega Man 3 comes out. So there's definitely some inspiration there in the platforming and the running and shooting. I mean, it's really good, but I also feel like narrowing it down to the round of 16, we have seen so many platform shooters now at this point.
They really have.
There's not really anything that sets this apart gameplay wise from your Mega Mans or your Contras or games like that.
It's true. That is the main problem. Like, is it pretty? Yes. Is it a little more than all the other shooters or things like that. But
The music is really
there's
good.
yeah, the music's really good, but it's not
It's
Mega
not
Man
Mega Man
music.
good. It's not Mega Man 2
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So I agree. I think that's the problem with this. Like
Mhm.
the gameplay is there. Everything else, not so much. Like
Mhm.
I'm not really. It's not really interesting story wise.
Mhm.
If there is a
Yeah.
story, like
Yeah. Like IGN putting it 81st on their list of best NES games feels too low. I feel like us getting it into the round of 32 feels about right. Like this feels like a top, 40-ish game of what we've played.
yeah,
Uh, but now that we're at the point where we're like, you know, only the strong survive. We haven't talked about Mega Man 3 yet, but it does kind of feel like Journey to Silius is kind of limping across the finish line at this point. Uh, not really giving us anything that we're not getting elsewhere.
yep, I agree.
So that being said, let's talk about Mega Man 3, which is a 1990 action platformer developed and published by Capcom. It was directed by Masayoshi Kurokawa, who also gets credit as a designer along with Keiji Inafune and Yoshinori Takanaka. It was produced by Tokuro Fujiwara, programmed by Tadashi Kuwana, with art by Keiji Inafune, Yasuaki Kishimoto, Kemi Iwasaki, and Miki Kijima, and a soundtrack composed by Yasuaki and Harumi Fujita. It had a first round bye on account of its high seed, and then it beat Kid Nicky Radical Ninja back in episode 61. After having been defeated twice, Dr. Wily sees the error of his ways and teams up with Dr. Light to build a peacekeeping robot named Gamma. Unfortunately, the robot masters in charge of running the mining operations for Gamma's power crystals make off with them, which brings Mega Man and his Robo-Dog Rush back into action to take them down. Akira Kitamura, who had directed the first two games, left Capcom after the release of Mega Man 2, which, according to artist Keiji Inafune, led to poor management and a rushed final product. Despite that, it still appears at or near the top of every best NES games list. It is the second best-selling NES Mega Man game, having sold nearly 1.1 million copies, tying it for the 64th best-selling NES game with Japan-only RBI Baseball sequel Pro Yakyu Family Stadium 88. It is the 28th best-selling game in our tournament.
Wow.
So, 3 hours in, Mega Man 3 still hold up?
Yeah, it still holds up. It's still up there with Mega Man 2, I think.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. Like it holds up, but
It's the second best NES Mega Man game, but
yeah,
the gulf between Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3 is really big.
it is.
Uh, which is not to say Mega Man 3 is bad, it's just that Mega Man 2 is, transcendent. Like Mega Man 2 is a
Yeah.
top 5 game for the console easy. This, at it's seated 16th on IGN's list, which feels about right. It's good, but it's in that next tier down with like your, you know, Excite Bike and Bubble Bobble, and not up there with the Mario 3s and Metroid and Mega Man 2, Castlevania 3, like that super top tier of games, like the next notch down.
Yeah, I agree. It just, especially playing it back to back. Like I played this, I think a day after I played Mega Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I agree. It's just not the same. I don't know. It feels a little slower, a little bit, kind
There's
of.
definitely some lag in this one that 2
Yeah.
doesn't have. I noticed that, minor spoiler for who made it farther, but after you've beaten the 8 robot masters,
Yeah.
you go back through and replay 4 of the levels, and each one has 2 of the Mega Man 2 bosses that you fight again. During the Airman fight, the game slowed to a crawl, even a little bit during the Woodman fight, but especially Airman, I noticed. Like trying to
Yep.
time your jumps over those tornadoes is borderline impossible because the game just like chugs along when he's got the, whatever, like 8 tornadoes on the screen and you're trying to jump and throw the whatever Sparkman weapon at him. Yeah, it got real slow, which was weird coming off of 2, which is so smooth. Even during the, like, probably the closest thing 2 gets to lagging is that the booby trap boss with the, like, the walls and the domes that shoot lasers at you.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
really the only time I can remember that game lagging. And even that, it's doing it on purpose because it's basically freezing you in place to hit you.
yeah, that's why it's kind of funny that you said that a lot of people left the project, and it definitely feels that way.
Yeah, it's a new director, new designers, same producer, but yeah.
Yeah, it definitely feels like, oh, this, like during, like, I feel like during the game it changed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, a lot of it, I was reading, some of the, like, the characters and levels were like leftover assets from 2 that they didn't wind up using. So not necessarily like the boss characters, but like some of the minor enemies were things that they had come up with for 2, but just didn't make the final cut. And it kind of felt like that. I was like, oh, that, I could see where that would have fit into, like, you know, Flashman's level or whatever, but it's just not. It wasn't good enough to make Flashman's level, but here it is in, you know, Sparkman's level or whatever.
Right. But yeah,
Speaking of which,
it's,
Shadow Man's level sucks.
yeah, that one, that's like,
so hard.
Yeah, it is harder. I felt like this game was probably one of the hardest ones.
Yeah, well, this is the one, I'm trying to remember the exact quote, but we talked about in the second round, some reviewer talked about it being like doing open heart surgery. Shoot, what was it? I tried not to repeat notes.
Right.
McKinley Noble from GamePro stated that actions such as pulling teeth, lifting a car over your head, or performing open heart surgery are all significantly easier than beating Mega Man 3.
Yeah, which, like,
which you did. You beat it in
Yeah.
round 2.
I did beat it. Yeah. And you know, I think like I said it in the first one, I was really just like in it, but
Yeah,
for some reason this time around, spoilers, it was not as easy.
not so much.
Not so much. Not so much.
Well,
I could see where I did beat it. I mean, where I, like, how I did it, but
yeah. I mean, there's definitely times where, like, you know, you'll play a game and then you'll come back and play it again later, and it's like, oh, here's a rhythm I didn't have when I was playing it before, and I'm just, you know, doing really
you know what
well.
it is? I think this is the secret. You can't play anything challenging before. So my problem was, like I said, I played this right after I played Mega Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I did only Wally's, or Dr. Wally's level, but if you never played a Mega Man game, that is the hardest levels in the game.
Yeah, that's picking up like at the boss's fortress.
Yeah, so I think I just, my mind was just wired for the timing of Mega Man 2, and it just wasn't the same. And I did not, I guess, quote unquote, cheat on this one. I did, because I didn't have a password for this one, so
you just started from scratch.
I just started from scratch again. So,
all right,
we'll see how far I made it this time with an hour.
Yeah, well, let's find out who made it farther.
Who made it farther? Who made it farther?
Journey to Silius. We were talking about, well, you were talking about with Mega Man 3 about like getting in a rhythm with something and getting farther. This time, I feel like I got stuck on something that I had beaten the 2 previous times we played it, and it took me most of the hour to beat the boss at the end of level 2, that tank with like the extending arm that comes out of it.
That's a hard.
I played that over and over and over again. I beat it about 34 minutes in, and then starting on the next level, like 3 minutes in, I got a game over and had to start from the beginning. And then I got up to him again, beat him again. But by then I'd spent so much time on level 2 trying to beat that boss that time ran out while I was on level 3.
Wow. Well, level 3. Oh wait, you're talking about Journey to Silius?
Yeah, Journey to Silius.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was like, wait, what? So I made it to stage 4.
All right, and the lead expands.
Yeah, I know what got I was because you were stuck with the giant wall, right? It was like a wall thing. Was it a
Kind of.
wall
It
thing?
was a moving tank, but it had like it would shoot like projectiles like in an arch, but then it also had this arm that would reach out. So if you tried to like
Oh,
jump
okay.
over
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ball, it would just
Oh,
reach
so
out and hit you.
yeah, that's not even what I was at. You don't even have. Soon you have to face this giant wall. It's just like shooting like guns and lasers. But
Mhm.
man, it is not fun.
I
It
feel
is
like I got
not
to that
fun.
in previous rounds, but for whatever reason, I just got stuck on that tank this time.
Yeah.
And Mega Man 3. So you started from scratch on this one because you beat it last time and you
Right.
didn't save your passwords. So how far did you make it this time?
So I just beat the 8.
Okay.
I just
So
beat it I didn't even get to start the next one because my time was up. I barely made it.
So I had a password from the last time that let me pick up with that part after having beaten the Robot Masters and playing the replaying the 4 levels and fighting the 2 Mega Man 2 bosses per level each.
Yeah.
And I made it to the last one, which for me was Woodman, based on the order that I played him in, who is so much harder in this than he was in 2. Part of it because of the lag, trying to time the jump over his leaf shield,
Yeah.
which also does a ton more damage in 3 than it did in 1. And I ran out of time going back and forth, trying to fight my way through Shadow Man's level to get to him.
Oh man.
I beat the other levels not easily, but relatively easily. But Shadow Man's level just
Shadow Man's
killed me.
pain.
I
A
would
pain
always
and
like
kind of
anytime I got to Woodman, I would limp in with like a quarter of my health and no lives and no E tanks, and he would just kill me, and then I'd start all over again.
he was cool though. I do love that character a lot, actually. Shadow Man.
Shadow Man himself was cool, yeah. Having to play his
Yeah.
level just to have a showdown with Woodman kind of sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, the ending is not that's where like that writer was like, oh, it's easier getting a dentist and all that, or being a dentist.
Yeah.
That the Wally stages are really hard.
Yes. Yeah, once you get through the Robot Masters, Mega Man 3 takes a serious turn into difficulty. So, I guess it's time to pick a winner. The winner, I mean, let's be honest, it's probably not going to make it out of the next round because the winner will be facing either Batman the video game or Super Mario Brothers 3. So, yeah, the number 1 overall seed or Batman, which, let's be honest, it'll be the number 1 overall seed. I didn't want to vote for
You never
Batman
know,
last time.
man. Might be Batman.
I'm sure. I'm sure it will be. Mega Man 3 got 60% of our online vote. That difficulty, though, man. I think I'm still going to go with Mega Man 3. I do think overall it's the better game than Journey to Silius. But this is kind of where that conversation we've been having the last couple of weeks of which game would I rather play for another hour? I think I would rather play another hour of Journey to Silius than continue on my Sisyphean quest to fight Woodman. But I feel like Mega Man 3 has got to be the one that moves on.
You know, I'm gonna go with Journey to Silius.
Yeah?
Yeah, I Mega Man. I guess I think it's time, we're this late a stage where I don't think I will have fun playing this again.
Yeah.
Granted, I beat it. I was a little biased, but
Right.
I kind of like realized like, man, this game is just really challenging. And at the
Mhm.
end there, it wasn't fun. Like Mega Man 2 was fun. This one was just like, I don't know. Kind of
Well,
felt like a bad Dark Souls game where it's like, which there's not a
well,
lot, but it's like, I don't know.
see, now I'm back on the fence because I felt like Mega Man 3 was such the like obvious answer,
Yeah.
but now we're back to like what I just said about how I would rather play Journey to
Yeah.
Silius for another hour,
Yeah. That
but I
means
don't
you
think it's the better game.
yeah. Remember, and this is not to see like, because we know Mega Man's the better game, but will we have more fun playing Journey to Silius? And I
Right.
think we will. I think Journey to Silius, as we said, yeah, there's not a lot going story wise and stuff, but the gameplay is there. The gameplay is pretty good.
Yeah.
And we could say the same thing about Mega Man. There's a story there? Not really. You're just fighting 8 robots and the
Yeah.
doctor.
Yeah.
But the gameplay is also there. And I just think this gameplay for Mega Man 3 is a little broken and a little cheap.
You know what?
I want to
You've
go with Journey
convinced
to
me.
Silius.
I'm changing my vote.
Yeah.
Journey to Silius
Oh,
wins.
what an upset. What an
Journey to
upset.
Silius moves on to face either Mario 3 or Batman in the round of 16. The number 81 seed advances to the round of 16, and the number 16
Wow.
seed is out.
Well,
Yeah, that was
listener, like
unexpected.
I said, yeah, listeners, you could try it out yourself. It is in the Nintendo Switch,
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo Online. You could try it,
It is
see if we're
indeed.
crazy. But I
I think we
truly
might
believe,
be, but I would rather play it for another hour. So we'll go with that. Speaking of challenges, next week we will be playing the number 11 game, Final Fantasy, and one of the hardest games in the entire tournament, number 43, Ninja Gaiden 2, The Dark Sword of Chaos.
oh man,
Yeah.
talking about hard games.
Yeah. So we're breaking up. We're not going to do 4 back-to-back Mega Man games this time. We're going to break it up a little bit with some Ninja Gaiden in the middle. But this was probably poor timing to put that hard game right after this hard game. But maybe it'll have better luck than Mega Man 3 did. Ryan, our question
Maybe.
of the week this week. If you played a Transformers game, what vehicle would you like to transform into? Also, what color?
Oh.
I'm assuming he
Okay.
means like in this era of a, like an 8-bit Transformer game, because there have been
Or
a
just,
ton of Transformer games over
I
the
think it's
years.
just any,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's just any car or any vehicle. So what would you be, Pat?
I don't know.
So my favorite car of all time, believe it or not, is a Toyota Celica. I don't know why,
All
but
right.
that was my car, and my favorite colors are silver or purple. So it would be one of those. But that's what I would be.
When I was a kid, I had a I can't remember if I actually had the model kit or if I just saw it at a store and thought it looked really cool. But I always really liked the look of the Lamborghini Diablo.
Oh hell yeah!
So yeah, it'd probably be like a mid '90s Diablo of some kind. I'm not really a car guy, so I couldn't tell you, the year, but yeah, it was a
Yeah, I
sleek
agree.
little
Yeah,
Italian sports car. Um, and like my favorite color is green, but I feel like if you're gonna do a Lambo, you need something flashier. Um, I would say probably yellow, except, then I'm kind of infringing on Bumblebee's gimmick. So maybe
That's fine.
maybe like a bright orange or something like that. That's, still eye-catching, but unique, because I can't off the top of my head really think of any other like bright orange Autobots. So yeah, we'll go with that. Orange Lamborghini Diablo.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, and good question as always, Rhino. We always look forward to seeing those. And if you would like to submit questions as well, you can do that through any of our social media, like facebook.com/Kings of Consoles. You can email us, kingsofconsolespod@gmail.com. We're at Kings of Consoles on Twitter. I'm at LoopyDate.
And I'm at Ricky G N7.
You can see the full bracket at challenge.com/Kings of Consoles. I can see a stream occasionally at twitch.tv/Kings of Consoles, or you can throw a little money our way at ko-fi.com/Kings of Consoles. And of course, you can rate, subscribe, review, all that kind of good stuff. We will be back next week. Final Fantasy against Ninja Gaiden 2, The Dark Sword of Chaos. So you will get to hear our descent into difficult gaming madness continue next week before we jump back into Mega Man in early. Right? I have lost track of what day this episode is coming out. I think this is the last episode of July.
I think so, yes.
Is that right?
Sounds right.
Yeah, this episode is July 20th. So yeah, we will. Yeah, next week is August 5th, and then we'll continue on with some Mega Man. We're basically going to alternate Mega Man, not Mega Man, Mega Man, not Mega Man for a couple of weeks, so we're not playing 5 of them back to back like we have the previous 2 rounds, because it's not May, and that's not how this works anymore.
Yeah, we're beyond Mega Man May.
We're beyond Mega Man May. This is Robot Master Summer. I don't know. That doesn't work at all. I was going for like a hot girl summer thing, but there's no real comparable. It's Heat Man Summer.
You tried. I
did.
Appreciate the effort.
I gave it a shot. I should have come more prepared. That's what I get for trying to go off the cuff. But that notwithstanding, please join us next week for that Final Fantasy Ninja Gaiden. We only have 27 more episodes left in the tournament part of this season. We are so close to crowning a king. And then we will continue on from there with whatever the future of the show looks like, which will eventually be another console, but we're going to do some fun stuff in between seasons as well. So until next week, play old games.
Play old games, everyone.
Kings of Consoles is recorded in Nashville and Orlando and is produced and edited by me, Pat Dooley. Thanks to Captive Portal for our theme song, intro for a non-existent video game, which can be found at freemusicarchive.org. And the music and sound effects from this week's games can be found with a quick Google search. The opinions expressed in this and every episode are our own, and we are in no way sponsored by or affiliated with Nintendo. We're just big fans.